Imagine your entire future, everything you've worked for, resting on a single stack of paperwork. Well, for anyone dreaming of a new life in Canada, that's not an exaggeration, it's reality. It is a world where one tiny mistake can turn that dream into an absolute nightmare. That's what we're exploring today, just how high the stakes really are. It sounds a little dramatic, doesn't it? But could one missing signature or one document that isn't translated perfectly really cause your entire application to come crashing down? For thousands of people, this is a very real fear. So let's find out. To really get how serious this is, we've got to look at a real-world story. We're talking about a case that went all the way to Canada's federal court. And the whole thing, believe it or not, hinged on a simple mistake with a translation. So let me introduce you to Hasan Gorgulu. He's a Turkish citizen who found himself in a really tough spot, facing deportation from Canada. To stay, he needed to prove that he was at risk back home. And all his evidence was in 3 documents, all written in Turkish. Okay, so here's the play-by-play. Mr. Gorgulu submits his application. It's called a pre-removal risk assessment, which is basically a last-ditch effort for someone to make their case. He includes his documents, and he includes simple English translations. But Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, they rejected it completely. And why? Because the translations weren't officially certified. They were, well, just translations. So Gorgulu fought back. He took it all the way to the federal court, and in a really surprising twist, the court actually sided with him. And this is the million-dollar question, right? You're probably thinking, okay, he won. So that means you can just kind of fudge the rules? Well, not so fast. The real story here is way more nuanced than that. All right, here's where it gets really interesting. The court said the officer's rejection was unreasonable. See, the guide that officers use isn't actually a binding law. So, given the life and death stakes of deportation, the court felt the officer could have shown a little discretion, maybe just assumed it was an oversight. But, and listen, this is a huge but, the court immediately warned that this was a one-off, a rare exception. This case did not create a loophole. If anything, it just proves how incredibly important it is to get it right the first time. So this all brings us to the most important point. You've got to know the rules inside and out to avoid this kind of nightmare altogether. Let's break down exactly what IRCs requires when it comes to translating documents. Here's the bottom line. If you have any document that isn't in English or French, you need a 3-part package deal. First, a complete translation into either English or French. Second, a copy of that original document. And third, an affidavit, a formal statement from the translator swearing that the translation is accurate and that they are competent to do it. All 3 parts, no exceptions. And believe me, IRCC is incredibly strict about who cannot do the translation. You can't do it. Your spouse, your parents, your brother, nope, can't do it. Your immigration consultant that you're paying, not a chance. Heck, even if your aunt is a certified professional translator, she can't do it for you. It's all about one thing, impartiality. Okay, so if all those people are out, who's in? What are your actual options? Well, in Canada, you basically have 2 approved paths for getting this done right. Knowing the difference between them can save you a ton of time, money, and stress. So your first option is a certified translation. You can think of this as the gold standard. It's done by a translator who's a member of a professional association in Canada. They do the work, stamp it with their official seal, and you're good to go. Your other option is a notarized translation. For this one, any competent translator can do the job. But, and this is key, they then have to take that translation and an affidavit to a notary public who will sign and seal it. It's an extra step, but it's just as valid in the eyes of IRCC. And here's a pro tip, a really crucial one. No matter which path you take, you have to check for the official seal. If it's a certified translation, you're looking for the Translator's Association stamp. If it's notarized, you need to see that notary's stamp and signature. That little mark is your proof that you followed the rules. All right, let's bring this all home. Why is all this tiny detail so incredibly critical? It's because when you're dealing with immigration, you almost never get a second chance. One immigration expert put it perfectly by borrowing that classic line from Coco Chanel, "You never get a second chance to make a first impression."
Your application packet is your first impression, and it might be your only one with the officer deciding your future.
And you have to make that impression fast. Get this. Experts say an IRCC officer spends, on average, just 15 to 20 minutes reviewing an entire file. Your whole life story, all your hopes, all your documents, reviewed in the time it takes to drink a cup of coffee. They have absolutely no time to chase you down for missing paperwork. So here it is, your final checklist for success. Think of this as your game plan. Step 1, go through and identify every single document that needs to be translated. Step 2, pick your path, certified or notarized. Step 3, hire someone who's actually eligible. Remember, no family. Step 4, make sure you get the complete package, the translation, the original copy, and that official affidavit or certification. And step 5, maybe the most critical of all, double check everything, every single seal, signature, and date before you hit submit.
You know, Hassan Gorgalu's story had a happy ending, but it was so close to being a total disaster, all because of a mistake that was completely avoidable. And it just leaves us with one final thought, one question to ask yourself. When your entire future is on the line, is good enough really good enough?